Today's game is being broadcast in Spanish where available using the SAP button on your television. The Chargers won the toss. They have deferred, so San Diego kicks it away. And it's a touchback. We're going to check in with the fourth member of our team. Down on the sideline, Scott Kaplan.
Well, Andrew, the question all week here in San Diego that's been asked is, how will the fans react to the possibility? And I can tell you that there was a very nervous hush in the pregame. And while there's noise coming from the Jumbotron, as for these fans, a very, very nervous crowd here today in San Diego, given the possibilities.
All right, Scott, thank you. Yeah, Philip Rivers told us he wasn't sure whether to expect a preseason atmosphere or a postseason atmosphere. I'd say right now it's somewhere in between. There are a lot of Dolphins fans here. On 1st and 10, Tannehill gives it to Lamar Miller, and Miller tackled by Ricardo Matthews after a gain of 2. Ryan Tannehill in his 4th season, 22 touchdowns, 11 interceptions on the season. When asked this week if he's taken a step forward this year, he said, "I don't know." Steve Berline, what do you think?
I think in general the year has been a step back for this whole organization. The quarterback is a guy that reflects the success or failure of the organization. I do think it's been a step backward to this point for Ryan Tannehill.
On second down play action, Emmanuel coming. Tannehill gets rid of it to Jarvis Landry. And that catch means Jarvis Landry has just tied O.J. McDuffie for the franchise record, his 90th catch of the year. McDuffie set that mark back in 1998, and now Landry has tied it.
Landry's one of those guys. He has been really the focal point of this offense, particularly when they throw the football. They line him up absolutely everywhere you can think of. And Tannehill finds ways to get him the football, and it's led to that record that you just mentioned.
He picked up 7. That makes it 3rd down and 1. It's Miller up the middle, and Lamar Miller has a Miami first down. As we take a look at the starting offensive line for the Dolphins, Mike Pouncey again having another Pro Bowl-like year up the middle at center for Miami. Pro Bowl rosters will be announced on Tuesday. And Lamar Miller eyeing 1,000 yards on the season.
And what a great year. Baffling last week how he got so little work in the second half. He's really been productive since Zach Taylor has taken over the play calling.
Came into the day needing 231 yards for 1,000, and Miller is stacked up here right at the line of scrimmage. Kendall Reyes leading the charge, which leads us to our look at the Chargers defense and Kendall Reyes in his 4th year now out of UConn. Mike McCoy told us very pleased with the linebacker play, specifically of Manti Te'o and Denzel Perryman on the inside. And Eric Weddle, he said it, this is probably his last game in San Diego, no matter what, a free agent at the end of the year.
Yeah, and he's one of the guys you can bet is going to have an emotional reaction at the end of this game. He said he's going to stick around and shake as many hands as he can.
Tannehill throwing on second down to Miller out of the backfield, and Lamar Miller has another Miami first down. We go back to New York, our first NFL Today update with JB and Tony Gonzalez.
Green Bay is in the playoffs because
of this Graham Gano kick, 43 yards to win the game at the end of regulation. The Giants were down 35-7, tried to complete the comeback, but we came up short at the end. 38-35 final.
Cam Newton put him in position. Back to Andrew, Steve, and Scott.
All right, guys, what a wild game that was between the Giants and the Panthers, and Carolina prevails. Miami on the ground. Lamar Miller is stuffed by Jerry Atachu. Second-year man out of Georgia Tech, having a very nice season for Mike McCoy. We asked him about it yesterday, and McCoy said Atachu is talented and did a better job of taking care of his body in his second NFL season.
Well, this defense for the Chargers really has played pretty well, especially as of late, with Manti Te'o and Denzel Perryman on the inside, as you stated earlier, Andrew. But the offense really has been the weak link in this team the last several weeks.
Have not scored a touchdown into weeks as Ajayi spins away, but then could not get away from Atachu and Perriman.
Well, those guys made the tackle, but really it was Weddle coming in off the edge who blew this play up. Right over here, you're going to see him come right off the edge. He misses the tackle, but that blows the play up. All the pursuit comes in. Weddle just anticipating. That's why safeties in this league are so tough. They have the freedom to freelance and maybe roll the dice once in a while. You can bet that's what Weddle did on that play.
And that's exactly why the fans of San Diego will be so sad to see him possibly not be here in the future.
Miami's second worst team in the NFL on third downs, just 29%. Only St. Louis is worse. Tannehill to Damian Williams out of the backfield, and Williams is tackled at the 49-yard line, well short of a first down. Another tackle for Eric Weddle, and Miami will be forced to punt.
Yeah, and the one play that Weddle made, and the play before that for the loss, really set Miami up for a third and long. They couldn't convert. That's why safeties, and that's why Weddle, I think, if he's not in with the Chargers, he's going to be very much sought after by other teams. This is a guy that makes plays, and you can talk all you want about being a steady tackler, a good cover guy, but a guy who makes plays, it's hard to put a price on.
Matt Darr, the rookie, to punt it away to Javonte Herndon. This one off the side of Darr's foot takes a Miami bounce. Herndon fields it at the 12 and out of bounds at the 13. 10:30 to go, first quarter, scoreless in San Diego.
It's a full collection of expert quarterback analysis every week on NFL Monday QB. Tomorrow at 6 on CBS Sports Network.
My Chargers.
My Raiders.
Touchdown.
We'll see you Christmas Eve.
Chargers Raiders Christmas Eve. Now only on NFL Network.
Never miss a moment of football action with the CBS Sports app. Every play and score, every game, every highlight right as they happen. Download the CBS Sports app now at cbssports.com/mobile. Philip Rivers said he's approaching today as if it's his final game in San Diego. Said it would be an emotional ride in as he came down the hill through the gates to the security guard that he has seen over his 13 years now with San Diego. And on first down, it's Melvin Gordon still going up close to the 20-yard line. Starting offensive line, DJ Fluker back at right guard. He missed the last 3 games because of a concussion. And Dontrell Inman did not play last week because of a neck strain, but he's good to go today. No huddle for the Chargers after Gordon got 4 on first down. Melvin Gordon trying to bounce it to the outside, nowhere to go, and then he sneaks through late. It was good containment by Kelvin Shepard, and then Gordon was able to get a couple more. It'll be third down. The Miami defense, Jordan Phillips again starts for the injured Earl Mitchell, who's out with a calf injury. Neville Hewitt gets a start for Jelani Jenkins, who's not playing today because of an ankle injury, as the Chargers go quickly on third down, and they pick up the first.
You know, it kind of gets lost in the fact we're trying to squeeze the lineups in and all that. The Chargers go no huddle, but that's 3 straight handoffs right into the teeth of the Dolphins defense, and it ends up in a first down. You can run the football, which is something the Chargers have not done well at all this season. It changes the entire dynamics, and we'll see if they can continue this.
And Dolphins being the number 30th ranked defense in the NFL, they face a lot of runs right at them.
This time Rivers to the air. And has a wide-open Dontrell Inman at the 45. Inman into Miami territory and shoved out by Bobby McCain after a gain of 28.
Well, Dontrell Inman, I don't know what he did, but here he is down at the bottom of your screen. Watch right here, Bobby McCain. He comes back and turns inside, and you got no contest for Inman on the outside. Completely got McCain's hips going the other way, running down the field. That's about as easy as it gets in the NFL for Philip Rivers. He's going to make that throw 100 times out of 100.
And that 28-yard gain puts Rivers over 4,000 for the season. The 7th time in his career that he has gone over the 4,000-yard passing mark in a season. The 4th most in NFL history. And Rivers loads up again for Malcolm Floyd. And the diving attempt is incomplete. Rivers told us, wouldn't it be nice to throw one deep to Malcolm Floyd for possibly the last time here in San Diego? Diego, well, he tried it here, but it didn't work.
Yeah, we spoke about it. We did the Chiefs game last week. Malcolm Floyd caught his first career touchdown pass from Phillip Rivers. And Phillip Rivers, it was his first touchdown pass as well. So both those guys would love to cap off their time here in San Diego in this stadium with a touchdown today.
Well, no matter what, it is the last time Floyd will play in this stadium. As he said, he is retiring at the end of the season no matter what. 3 on the play clock. It's 2nd and 10. Rivers just gets it off. Finds Antonio Gates, who's tackled from behind by Michael Thomas, but a gain of 8 for Gates. And here it is, as we mentioned before, 7th time in Rivers' career he's gone over 4,000 yards passing in a season, the 4th most in NFL history, trailing only Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, and Tom Brady.
It's amazing when you look at those now. All those guys still playing, which is a testament to how the league has changed.
You
the passing.
Old quarterbacks are bitter about it, too, aren't
it's
they,
amazing.
Steve?
Yeah, the yards come a lot easier nowadays.
I feel for you, big man.
I know.
3rd and 2. Rivers, quick pass to Woodhead for a first down. Tackled immediately by Koamisi, but the Chargers move the chains. Trying to find the end zone. It's been a while. 3 weeks ago in Jacksonville is the last time San Diego scored a touchdown. Phillip Rivers to Stevie Johnson, who's not playing today because of a groin injury. 22 straight offensive drives without a touchdown. That's the 3rd longest active streak in the NFL. Gordon on a delayed handoff. And he dances his way up the middle to the 30-yard line. Olivier Vernon on the tackle.
Well, what makes those numbers more impressive or not as impressive is that this is an offense known for its explosive ability over the years. Only 3 points per game in 3 of the last 4 games. This is not a San Diego Chargers offense that the people in this stadium are used to seeing.
Balanced drive, 4 on the ground, 4 through the air. The 9th play, and Melvin Gordon is stuffed at the line.
You talk about the problems this San Diego Charger team has had scoring points, and they have had problems in the last few weeks, but it hasn't kept them from moving the football. Phillip Rivers still has been productive between the 20s, but they cannot penetrate the goal line, and it's one of those things. You look at a 3-10 team, and one of the reasons you can't score points, but their offense is still pumping out a lot of yards. It's really an anomaly that's hard to explain.
San Diego 2 for 2 on 3rd downs on this drive. Let's see what they do here. It's 3rd and 6. Rivers to Gates. First down, San Diego. 2nd catch today for Antonio Gates, a gain of 12.
Well, these two guys are on such the same wavelength no matter what the play is. Phillip Rivers knows that Antonio Gates is going to be expecting that ball high in the hole. No communication needs to take place. It's just knowing the body language, understanding what the other person is going to do. And Rivers, Antonio Gates on the same page way more times than they're not.
Gates said that if this is the last game in San Diego, let's make it one to remember. San Diego driving here inside the red zone. They give it to Gordon trying the right side. Nothing doing there. Kelvin Shepard, one of the first to get back there for the Miami defense.
Yeah, Quentin Coples was also one of the forces that blew that play up, got big penetration, and as they tried to get a lead blocker out in front of Melvin Gordon, right up in here, he's going to get right through. See how he pushes that tight end right back into the backfield. Quentin Coples just having his way with John Phillips, and that blew that play up.
Fast-moving first quarter, inside 4.5 to go. It's 2nd down and 12. Rivers looking for Danny Woodhead. He's got him, and he's in for the touchdown. A 20-yard connection, Rivers to Woodhead, and finally, for the first time in 3 weeks, San Diego has scored a touchdown.
Super nice play right here. Danny Woodhead showing his versatility. He can make catches all over the field. See him stacked right there in the bunch formation, a little out and up over the top.
That's the same route they tried to run on the last play from scrimmage last week in Kansas City that did not go. They come right back to the same route, a little out and up by Woodhead. This time they connect, and it is a touchdown on the first drive of the game. Nice drive for Phillip Rivers and the Chargers.
29th drive this year of San Diego where they have 10 or more plays on the drive. That's the second most in the NFL, as the extra point is no good by Josh Lambo. Fourth time this season he's missed an extra point. So the Chargers score, but it's a 6-0 lead. Christmas Eve, only on NFL Network, the Chargers square off with the Raiders. And then a special Saturday edition of Thursday Night Football as the Redskins take on the Eagles, with the NFC East still up for grabs. Thursday night, Christmas Eve, Jim Nantz, Phil Simms, Tracy Wolfson in Oakland. Chargers have not won a division game since November 16th of last year when they beat the Raiders. 1st and 10 for Miami. Lamar Miller across the 20 and smacked to the ground by Denzel Perriman and Jason Verrett.
Well, we're going to
go back to the touchdown.
Yeah, you're going to see. Here's Danny Woodhead right here. I want you to watch a couple of things. Right here is linebacker for the Miami Dolphins, Kelvin Shepard, and right here, Rashad Jones, the safety. The two of them together cannot handle Danny Woodhead on the out and up. The ball perfectly timed and thrown over the top of Shepard in man-to-man coverage before Jones could get over there. Very well executed by the San Diego Chargers.
And very similar, as Steve Tasker said, to D. Ford covering Danny Woodhead on the final play of the game last week. Rivers gets rid of it before Manti Te'o could get to him. Pass is complete for minimal gain. Melvin Ingram stacks up Lamar Miller.
This early going. You see the Chargers come out, go no huddle at the line. Phillip Rivers controlling everything about the offense. Not that way in Miami with Zach Taylor, the quarterback's coach, calling the plays over the last 3 weeks. Ryan Tannehill gets those guys in the huddle. They call it very old school. And there you see Dan Campbell. His identity since the day he took over for Joe Philbin has been, let's run the football. And they're continuing to evolve here in Miami with Ryan Tannehill taking snaps.
On 3rd and 6. Tannehill fires, and that pass is caught by Stills, but they're saying he was out of bounds. Incomplete, and Miami will be forced to punt once again.
You got to come down. It doesn't matter if the defensive back catches you and carries you out, but that's what happens. Stills just gets caught in the air by Mager and just gets carried and pushed out in the air.
Well, the ball was thrown on time from Tannehill, and it was an accurate throw. I just think Kenny Stills got pressed a little bit too wide before he made his break. He's got to get another couple of yards or give himself a few more yards to the outside for that ball to be completed.
Herndon from his own 26. Herndon makes a move to the 45-yard line. Brought down by Neville Hewitt, but the Chargers will have good field position when we return.
It's been an amazing year for Honda, with the all-new HR-V crossover, all-new Pilot, and the all-new Civic. There's a lot to celebrate, so hurry in to Happy Honda Days and take home KBB.com's best overall brand.
Everybody deserves the gift of more data. For a limited time, Verizon is giving you 24 bonus gigs at no additional cost every year for life. That's 2 extra gigs per line per month when you activate or upgrade on our XL or larger sizes. 24 bonus gigs every year for life. Stream more, surf longer, all on the Better Network. Visit Verizon online or in-store today.
Oh, God, no. Your favorite show is over. You've fallen into a show hole. A part of you has died. Why even have a TV? Then you see it. Amazon Fire TV's vast library of best shows ever. So long, show hole. I've got Fire TV.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. Better matters. And by Amazon Fire TV. Change the way you TV.
Years ago.
18. Aerial coverage of today's game is provided by MetLife. 2:28 to go, first quarter. Chargers finally finding the end zone for the first time since Week 12 against Jacksonville, but they missed the extra point. San Diego leads 6-0. On first down, it's Melvin Gordon. And Gordon still going across midfield. Good extra effort by Gordon before Bobby McCain finally brought him down.
You talk about that last drive. That was the 29th touchdown pass the Dolphins have allowed this year. The most they've ever allowed in a season, 31. So they're on pace to break a record they really don't want to break, giving up 2 more touchdowns in the last 3 weeks of the season.
Those 31 allowed back in 1967. Tough year for the Miami defense. Gordon, not this time. Neville Hewitt, Michael Thomas coming up to meet him at the line of scrimmage. NFL Today update back to New York. JP and Tony Gonzalez.
Osweiler and the Broncos answer back.
Yes, they do right here. Demaryius Thomas finds a seam. Brock Osweiler hits him for the 18-yard touchdown. All tied up, 7-7 in the first.
Back to Andrew Catalan.
JB, thank you. And Denver cannot clinch the division today because Kansas City won earlier, but Denver can clinch a playoff spot if they beat the Steelers. 1:15 to go, first quarter, third down and 5. San Diego a perfect 3 for 3 so far on third downs, but this time Rivers' pass is batted down. Derek Shelby got a hand on that one, and out comes the punter, Mike Cyphris.
There's nice pressure up front. It's going to come from just as Phillip Rivers comes up. You'll see right there.
Shelby got that left paw.
And that's just a great job. And they got good penetration, although Rivers had an ability to see down there. He couldn't follow through on the pass, and the pocket collapsed around him. He just, it turns in from a nice little space to a phone booth pretty quickly.
Mike Cyphris in his 13th year with the Chargers. He said it would be emotional today as well as he punts it away to Jarvis Landry. It hits Tyrell Williams in the helmet. Landry then goes and falls on it.
It's a smart move by Landry.
It'll be Miami football when we come back.
You are watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 50.
Chargers rookie linebacker Kyle Emanuel being looked at on the San Diego sideline with 59 seconds remaining in the first quarter here at Qualcomm Stadium. Chargers lead 6-0. First and 10 for Miami from the 22. Tannehill to Landry, and that catch means Jarvis Landry has just set the franchise record with his 91st reception of the season, breaking the tie with O.J. McDuffie.
And Brandon Albert, the left tackle for the Dolphins, stayed down, and he's going to have to be attended to as Landry walks back, and that's one more thing that the Dolphins did not need.
So you like to walk, but not just walk. Speed walk. Or you like to bike. In place, next to these strangers. Or you want to know your heart rate when you're doing this. Steady, this, and a little bit of this. Which means you should probably wear this. Beat yesterday with Vivo Smart HR. From Garmin.
I've been called a control freak. I like to think of myself as more of a control enthusiast. Perfect 177 degrees. And that's why this road warrior runs from National. I can bypass the counter and go straight to my car. And I don't have to talk to any humans unless I want to. And I don't. And National lets me choose any car on the aisle. Control. And so, what's the word? Sexy. Go National. Go like a pro.
the beautiful sound of customers making the most of their United flight. Power, Wi-Fi, and streaming entertainment. That's Seize the Journey friendly.
Brandon Albert, in his 8th year out of Virginia, walks off under his own power to the Miami sideline where he'll now be examined. Remember, the Dolphins cut Jeff Linkenbach this week, and he was claimed by the Chargers. He's inactive today, but Miami only has 7 active linemen, so Ulrich John comes in to play left tackle for Brandon Albert. And now flags fly. Our referee today is John Hussey.
Too many men on the offense. 12 men in a huddle. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
First flag today as we check in with Scott Kaplan.
Well, from the San Diego sideline, Kyle Emanuel, the reserve linebacker, 5th-round draft choice rookie out of North Dakota State, has been taken into the San Diego locker room. He is now under the NFL's concussion protocol examination. Andrew?
All right, Scott, as a team, the Chargers have been diagnosed with 13 concussions this year, the most in the NFL. And then you see Brandon Albert also leaving the field to the Miami locker room. So following the penalty, it's 2nd down and 12. 25 seconds to go in the first quarter. Tannehill keeps it himself, and he's tripped up. Nice play by Denzel Perriman, the rookie out of Miami. He said that Miami expressed an interest in drafting him this past year in the 2nd round. At number 47, he was available. Miami traded out of that spot, and in the next pick, number 48, the Chargers took him. Perriman, who grew up in Coral Gables, has had this one circled on his calendar all year, his 4th tackle. That's the end of the first quarter, with San Diego leading 6-0. You're watching the NFL on CBS, your home for Super Bowl 50. Started the second quarter, and a lot of the Chargers told us they didn't know what to expect in terms of the atmosphere here today and what could be the final game ever in San Diego. Got to tip your cap to the Chargers fans. They have come out in full force. A lot of Miami fans here, but the Chargers fans have showed up here for Week 15. Tannehill throwing to start the second quarter. Fires to Devontae Parker, who's immediately tackled by Jason Verrett, and we immediately go down to Scott Kaplan.
Andrew, this time from the Miami sideline, Brandon Albert, the left tackle, the 8th-year man out of Virginia, has been taken to the Miami locker room. They're examining his right knee. They're calling his return questionable.
All right, Scott, that means Ulrich John still in at right tackle, and the only other backup offensive lineman is Jamil Douglas, the rookie. Miami a little thin at that position today as Matt Darr is out to punt for his 3rd time already in the first half. Herndon back deep to receive. Drifting to his right, bounces out of bounds near the 30-yard line. Well, the Chargers have had a lot of Hall of Famers in their time. 55 years of football here in San Diego, and some of the many great names. Don Coryell, 9 seasons as the head coach. Of course, Lance Allworth, a Hall of Famer. Our colleague Dan Fouts, inducted in '93. Kellen Winslow, the late Junior Seau. And LaDainian Tomlinson, who rushed for an NFL record 28 touchdowns in 2006. Some of the many famous players and coaches to be associated with football here in San Diego.
Hard to imagine not having a team here in San Diego.
Quick pitch to Herndon, and he is spun down by Rashad Jones, who's having a Pro Bowl-like season for Miami. Rosters announced on Tuesday. Jones is 3rd in the NFL in tackles.
Yeah, he's had an outstanding season just for that reason. He's a sure tackler, good in coverage. He gave up a touchdown, or had a hand in giving up the touchdown in Kansas City last year, but that's a guy who week in and week out has played extremely well for these Dolphins, and in a tough season he's been a bright spot.
2nd and 8. Good protection. Rivers taking a deep shot from Malcolm Floyd, and it's intercepted. Rashad Jones on the pick, and he's got some room to run. Jones cuts back at the 30. Jones at midfield lost the football. Ball is loose. And Rivers falls on it. How do you like that?
And it'll be first down as well.
Rivers, he moved the least of any player on the field in that play. I can guarantee you that the ball bounces right at his feet.
Oh, my gosh.
A poor decision to throw the football. Triple coverage. No reason for Phillip Rivers to be throwing that ball. Jones comes down with it, makes a great return. Look at him carrying that ball loose. It got stripped and kicked around a little bit. And who's right there to fall on top of it? Phillip Rivers.
They went from being 2nd and 8 on the 42 to 1st and 10 on the 38. Watch him. He's taking a play. Well, that's too bad.
Walk over here. I'm
going to intercept. Oops, something's coming. There's a train coming. I'm going to get out of the way.
That's called doing the Steve Berline right there.
No, it is
backtracking and moving away from oncoming traffic.
I would have been looking for someone to earhole out there.
Yeah, okay.
No, that would have been staying far away, just like Phillip.
11th interception of the season for Rivers. 5th pick for Rashad Jones, but San Diego gets the ball back, 1st and 10. Melvin Gordon. And a nice tackle from behind by Koamisi.
Well, the only guy sick over that last play is Rashad Jones. He's carrying it like a loaf of bread, just starts to think about tucking it away, and it's too late.
That was Orlando Franklin that stripped that ball.
And that's as easy as it gets there. You know, he's going to think about that one.
That's an all-timer.
Oh, that is an all-timer.
Rivers to a wide-open Gates. First down to the 44-yard line. 3rd catch today for Antonio Gates. Back to New York. NFL Today update with JP and Tony Gonzalez.
Speaking of wide open.
Yeah, you're going to see Brock Osweiler hit Emmanuel Sanders up the seam. 61 yards later, he scores the touchdown. He's got 4 catches, 100 yards on the day. Denver's up 14-7 in the first quarter.
Tasker would look for the ear hole. Berline would walk away for another day. Back to Andrew Catalan.
You know us well, JB.
What would you do, JB? That's what I want to know. I don't think you'd be sticking your nose in there.
Hey, JB is safe in the studio. Let's let him be there, Steve. Gordon across the 40. Melvin Gordon with some hard rushing. Rashad Jones makes the tackle. Gain of 7 for Melvin Gordon, who is still without a touchdown. Came into the game with 201 touches and no scores. The NFL record was set by Marcel Shipp back in 2003, 258 touches. So Gordon getting closer. NFL fans, order your holiday gifts from NFLshop.com today and get a free shipping offer at the official store of the NFL, NFLshop.com. Happy holidays from all of us here at CBS. Week 15 of the NFL. Jordan gets a breather. It's 3rd and 3.
Chargers just on the fringe of field goal range. If they pick up even a yard here, you can bet they're going to try and go for the 3. But if they take a loss, might be a punt instead.
Rivers incomplete, and a flag comes in. Malcolm Floyd tangled up with Bryce McCain.
Well, Bryce McCain can complain all he wants. I don't think there's any question about this. Malcolm Floyd was trying to get to the football, and McCain was all
Pass
over
interference. Defense number 24. That ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
No doubt about it. McCain you'll see he never even looks back for the ball. That is one of the things officials are looking for. Is he playing the ball at all? You see his head. At the very end, his head came back, but there was too much contact. The ball was already over the top anyway.
Well, Malcolm Floyd would have caught that football had McCain not been all over his chest. I mean, he pushed him out there, and there was contact, and McCain, only at the last minute, even turned his head down to the opposite end of the field.
A 20-yard penalty sets up San Diego with 1st and 10 from the 16. Melvin Gordon. And he gets back to the line of scrimmage. Well, you go back to that last play. Malcolm Floyd is 6'5". Bryce McCain is 5'9". So Floyd with the advantage. And Bryce McCain said, I have 2 brothers, one 6'2", one 6'4", and I'm 5'9". That doesn't make any sense. Source of frustration throughout his career. Seventh-year man out of Utah.
Don't call him the runt of the litter, though. That's for sure. He's playing at a very high level against some darn good athletes on the other side.
Rivers to Gordon at the 15. Gordon still going to the 10. So Melvin Gordon very involved in the game plan here in the first half.
Well, this is a Chargers offense. It's ranked 13th in the NFL in the red zone in terms of touchdown percentage, going against the Dolphins defense, middle of the pack, right at 18th in terms of their success keeping teams out of the end zone.
13 touches in the first half already for Melvin Gordon. It's 3rd down and 4.
A little confusion in the secondary for the Chargers. Man coverage, you can tell by Rashard Jones being outside on the Darius Green.
I think Rivers wants to hook up with Gates for a touchdown. Not this time, looking for Herndon, and it's broken up. And it's Bryce McCain on the coverage.
You know, one of the things that's hard for Phillip Rivers, and again, he's had great success this year, but he's had so many bodies. This is a throw that he can make in his sleep. Herndon is open over the top, but his route running, the way he makes his breaks, Phillip Rivers has not had a lot of time with him on the field this year. If that's Keenan Allen, they're on the same page. If that's Antonio Gates, but he's had so many players revolving in and out of his offensive huddle, it's hard for him to know exactly where these guys are going to be.
I think he underthrew that football, but
he did.
Right.
He did. 28-yard field goal attempt by Lambo is good. So after he missed the extra point, he puts 3 on the board, and San Diego extends its lead to 9-0. Tonight, would you like to know what Apple is working on next? A rare and wide-ranging interview with CEO Tim Cook and his team, only on 60 Minutes tonight. San Diego trying to stop a 5-game home losing streak. They haven't won here at Qualcomm since week 4 against Cleveland. Lambo to Rashad Jones out of his own end zone. Jones stumbles his way up to the 16-yard line. Dolphins offense coming back out. They trail 9-0.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Walmart. Walmart has everything you need to share wonder every day. Citizen Echo Drive, fueled by light. It never needs a battery. And by the Ford F-150. Every other truck is history.
Ice skating with palm trees in the background. Welcome to San Diego. 8:58 to go. Second quarter, Chargers lead 9-0. Lamar Miller on first down. Jason Verrett and company closing quickly. It's second down as we take a look at the updated playoff picture in the NFC, and Carolina with that win, wild one over the Giants, now 14-0. They've clinched a first-round bye, and because of the Giants' loss, Green Bay has also clinched a playoff spot, but not yet, the NFC North.
And I think the Giants were the toughest hurdle for the Carolina Panthers in going 16-0. Their next 2 weeks are games I think they should win.
Second and 15. Tannehill deep down the sideline, and it's broken up by Verrett. Tannehill was trying to get it to Devontae Parker. It'll be 3rd down.
Yeah, he's going to go up the sideline. This is just a jump ball, and I like the thought by Tannehill. I'd put some more air under, but you see him go up and battle, and that's just giving your guy a chance to make a play. I don't have a problem with Ryan Tannehill throwing that football out there. Parker's made a play on it, and Verrett was just a better player on that thing. Listen.
And a late flag came in, holding against Miami. It's been declined. So it's 3rd down and long. On the last 8 Miami plays, they've gained 6 yards.
Well, and this is the second worst team on 3rd down in the NFL, and it's because of their ability or inability to get to 3rd and desirable. This is the 3rd time they've had 3rd and 10 or more. It's very hard to be successful in those conditions.
And they run it with Miller on 3rd and 15. Verrett checking a die with a tackle, and well short. Miami's going to punt.
Miami has averaged over 8 yards on third down throughout the entire season coming into this game, and it's not getting better today. I mean, you saw it on the first down run. They took a loss of 5 yards, had a holding penalty, declined after an incompletion. I mean, they're just not successful enough on first and second down, and they can't be successful that way.
Matt Darr from Bakersfield, California, has about 100 people in the stands today to watch him as he punts it away to Herndon. He fields it at the 35. And Herndon gets a couple. San Diego with good field position. Chargers lead 9-0. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Tuesday on CBS, a pill makes him a crime-solving genius, and the FBI has made them their greatest asset. Don't miss the new hit drama, Limitless, Tuesday at 10/9 Central, only CBS. 7:27 to go, second quarter, and the Chargers lead 9-0 in what looks like a great turnout here in San Diego. What could be the final game ever here at Qualcomm Stadium, with all the talk of the Chargers possibly moving to Los Angeles next year. We'll learn a lot more in the coming weeks, including a vote January 13th in Houston. Melvin Gordon on first down. He gets a yard as we check in with Scott Kaplan.
Andrew, Philip Rivers told us that this could be a very emotional day for him. He was obviously uncertain, like everybody else, about what the Chargers' future is. This is his 88th game here at Qualcomm Stadium, and he said he thought it would be very emotional driving in, coming down the hill, saying hello to all the regular people. He's playing in what could be the Chargers' last game here at Qualcomm.
Yeah, Scott, and Rivers told us that his 13-year-old daughter told him that she'll probably cry at the end of the game, and he said another one of his 8 children said he didn't want to move. I want to stay in this house, Daddy. And that's a lot of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes that people don't think about sometimes as a flag comes in.
It's an illegal procedure on the Chargers.
Full start. Offense number 72. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
We spoke to Philip on Saturday. He told us he thought it was like 125 games, plus you had the 2 seasons he did not play after, while Drew Brees was still the quarterback, all the preseason games. He knows people in the stadium who work there, the same security guard. It's a routine. And as you said in the open, when he drives down the hill and looks at the stadium, maybe for the last time coming into play, I mean, wow, it's tough to invest your heart, mind, and soul into something like this and then, know that it's coming to an end. It's hard.
Rivers fires. Great catch by Inman in Miami territory. A gain of 19 for Dontrell Inman.
Well, Philip Rivers was telling us he sure missed Dontrell Inman last week in Kansas City. He provides a spark to this offense, a necessary spark, especially when they're minus Keenan Allen. Right there, a good example why. He's really got a lot of confidence in Inman.
And Rivers does a good job of getting Miami to jump, assuming that's what happened. And now there's some talk.
Neutral zone infraction, defense number 93. 5-yard penalty, first down.
It's Ndamukong Suh called for the penalty.
And you look at that film, especially even last week. I was watching him specifically very closely last week, and he's always trying to get off on that snap. He really is playing at a high level. Under a lot of scrutiny this year because the defense in general has not performed well, but you look at his impact on every play, the disruption that he causes, playing at a very high level.
Quick pass to Herndon. Makes a nice cut to pick up the first down. Javonte Herndon, in his first year out of Arkansas, has come on here since Keenan Allen went out with the injury.
Yeah, and you talk about all this stuff that goes on down in the trenches. One of the guys that's kind of geeked for this game is DJ Fluker, the guard for the Chargers. He knew Ndamukong Suh was going to be on his nose all day. He is playing with a little bit of fire that he hasn't shown in weeks past. He knew that it was going to be a big, big deal for him today, right down inside against Ndamukong Suh. And he is. It's a special game for him because he knows how good a player he's going against.
Danny Woodhead. And he runs right into Koa Misi. First carry today for Woodhead, who scored the touchdown back in the first quarter on a pass from Philip Rivers.
both these clubs, huge changes on the horizon. We talked about, all the things that are going on here in San Diego, whether this team will actually be here or not. And, of course, the Dolphins made a head coaching change midseason, fired both coordinators later on. Dan Campbell battling to win games to maybe stay on as head coach, but certainly helping his career in the way he's handled a difficult situation. When it comes off, though, and the ball's kicked off, it's just football.
Rivers to a wide-open target, and Inman inside the 5-yard line. Sure. Michael Thomas saved the touchdown, but a gain of 31 for Dontrell Inman.
Well, that was Bobby McCain, again, getting spun around completely. He was guessing on the slant, and guess what San Diego had called the sluggo, which is a slant and go. They caught McCain cheating, and he paid the price.
Keep in mind, San Diego does not have a rushing touchdown since week 1. Woodhead is in, and finally the streak is over. A rushing touchdown for San Diego. They went 289 carries without a rushing touchdown. Woodhead finally ends the streak.
And he had the last 2, which were week 1 of the season.
The only 2.
The only 2. That's right. The only 2 of the season. Right there, he gets the 3rd.
Well, interestingly enough, 12 straight games without a rushing TD. All is one shy of the NFL record set by the Chargers in 2011 and 2012, or 2012-2013 season. So, they kept from breaking their own record by going another game without a touchdown like that.
This year's Chargers set a single season record, but the 2012-2013 Chargers have the overall record. It's over. Woodhead is in his 3rd rushing touchdown of the year.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL, and by Macy's.
Video of our broadcast associate Scott Martin tandem paragliding on Friday at Torrey Pines glider port. He was in the air for about 30 minutes, but actually had to land on the beach because the wind got a little weak, so then he had to climb all the way up the beach, and Scott Martin is still recovering from that climb up the beach, but he'll be back at Torrey Pines, as will our entire CBS golf team, not too far away as we get set for the 2016 PGA Tour season. Chargers with a 6-play drive, capped off by the Danny Woodhead touchdown, and San Diego leads 16-0 on that drive. Phillip Rivers was 3 for 3 for 60 yards. Damian Williams on the return, and Williams to the 25-yard line, where the Miami offense will take over. Tonight, Week 15 continues with Sunday Night Football on NBC, and tomorrow with Monday Night Football on ESPN. And Week 16 kicks off with Thursday Night Football, Christmas Eve, Chargers-Raiders on NFL Network. 3rd rushing touchdown of the season for Danny Woodhead, 3rd rushing touchdown of the season for the Chargers offense. They lead 16-0.
Now, this is a situation here where Ryan Tannehill needs to step up. This game is on the verge of getting out of hand, down 16-0. The offense has done nothing. This is where he needs to show his maturity, start making some plays.
3 straight 3-and-outs for the Dolphins. Tannehill throwing on 1st down, and Eric Weddle got a hand on that one.
He snuck underneath that route.
And Melvin Ingram leveled Tannehill as he threw it.
Tannehill, go ahead.
Yeah, as he steps up into this throw, he gets labeled, and I think that's borderline not being called. That to me seems like a
Ingram went low.
Yeah, it's a high-low.
Well, actually, it was above the waist.
Yeah, but
above the waist, but the high hit to the head.
I don't know that it wasn't late.
Miami with just 45 yards of offense here in the first half. Ajayi adds a few more onto that total, but it'll be 3rd down for the Dolphins.
We talk about, Steve Berline, you and I have these conversations about quarterbacks all the time, and Tannehill is a guy where even the people in Miami are like, okay, what do we got here? I mean, the guy's gotten better in his first 2 or 3 years. He's gotten better and better. Now this year, I don't know. And part of the thing was that he didn't have much say in the offense. They didn't give him much responsibility, and now they're going to start to do that. But does he come through? And that's the big question.
That is the big question. In situations like this, 3rd and 6, you've got to find a way to make a play to keep the ball away from San Diego.
Tannehill, as he throws, incomplete. Melvin Ingram again, and Tannehill is slow to get up.
Keep in mind now, Tannehill has been knocked down and sacked more than any quarterback in the NFL over the course of his career. Right there, Ingram just driving him into the ground. He's been knocked down 94 times coming into the game today. That's the most in the NFL. 174 sacks in his 4 years coming into this game. That is by far the most in the NFL. So your quarterback isn't going to survive getting hit that much.
And it was Ulrich John who's in for the injured left tackle Brandon Albert, who has struggled going against Ingram since coming into the game. Punt goes out of bounds near the 25-yard line. Saturday, 2 8-win teams battle it out when the Hurricanes hit it off with the Cougars in the Sun Bowl. It's right here on CBS Sports.
You know, I think one of the things you talk about these quarterbacks, you look at Phillip Rivers, here's a guy that's got it all on his plate. Protection, pass routes, checks, everything. And Ryan Tannehill doesn't do that. Now, he hasn't been asked to do that.
He's only in his 4th year as well.
That's correct. But you're saying 3 to 5 years. But I'm saying you got to start taking some big leaps, I think, in your 4th and 5th year. And I think it's right for the Dolphins to say, hey, you know, it's time for you to take this on your plate and do something with it.
They took a big leap, giving him a $96 million extension. Rivers to Gates. Antonio Gates dragged down by Rashad Jones, but into Miami territory. A gain of 30 for Antonio Gates.
This is just a quarterback who knows his guy so well.
Well, yeah, and nobody does it better than Phillip Rivers. This ball is laid up on time, perfect arc and touch over the top. That throw looks easy because he makes it look easy, but trust me, it is not an easy throw to make.
Gordon up the middle. Melvin Gordon with a first down run.
You know, as you talk about this, and Phillip Rivers working this offense, offensive coordinator Frank Reich gushed when we asked him about Melvin Gordon. He's got a quarterback like Phillip Rivers, and with the tool of Melvin Gordon, we've seen it here in this first half today. They want Melvin Gordon to start to develop into the superstar of the abilities that he has. I mean, this is a guy that has that kind of ability, but he's so young, they're trying to work him in and complement quarterback Phillip Rivers.
Rivers back to Inman. This time it's incomplete. As we've reached the 2-minute warning, Chargers driving again. They lead 16-0. Phillip Rivers, 12 of 17, 184 yards in the first half. He took a shot on that last throw, though, from Olivier Vernon. And Rivers slowly walked over to the sideline during that timeout, but back in there for second down. All 3 timeouts left for both teams. Melvin Gordon lost his footing, and then Neville Hewitt is able to drag him down. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cower. All the latest NFL scores, highlights, and analysis of today's games. It's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. And Melvin Gordon is still down after that last run for San Diego.
He kind of bounced the play outside
and charged San Diego their first.
You'll see it's just kind of an awkward fall, the way he gets kind of pulled down and hit on his left knee and pulled down on the right shoulder.
His right ankle, watch his right ankle get caught right underneath.
Well, the Chargers already lost running back Brandon Oliver to a season-ending toe injury. And now Melvin Gordon is being looked at. San Diego was charged with an injury timeout, so they have 2 remaining now.
They're rubbing his left knee, or they're looking at his left knee. He kind of, the way he hit the ground, that as he was getting pulled down to the right, his left leg got kind of taken out underneath him. That will just look like an awkward way to go down.
He's been a workhorse in the first half with 15 carries. His season high is 18 carries for a game. That was against Baltimore.
Almost looked like it got hyperextended.
Kind of like RG3 a few years back.
Exactly.
The Chargers have 3 active running backs. Behind Gordon is Danny Woodhead, and Donald Brown is the 3rd running back. And right now, Woodhead is out there, and Gordon on his feet, which is a good sign.
Been a tough rookie year for him. Documented fumble issues early in the season. I think he's had 6 fumbles on the season. And Mike McCoy has made decisions to not play him as much as he would like as a result of it in games where he has not protected the football. Tough rookie year for him from a lot of perspectives, but I think everybody agrees this guy's got a tremendous future in front of him.
And he admitted it, said it's been a rough year, but he says my time will come and I will be better. The Chargers are hoping he's better for the second half as he leaves the field. It's 3rd down and 11, 1:53 to go. And again, now the Chargers only have 2 timeouts remaining. Second time that Rivers has got the Dolphins to jump.
Let me tell you, if I were the quarterback against Ndamukong Suh, he is so anxious to get off on that snap count. I would go on the hard count almost every snap because he just wants to get back there so badly.
Encroachment, defense number 93. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
He's certainly going to do it every 3rd down. I mean, you got a 3rd and 11, turns into a 3rd and 6, and listen to the hard count of Phillip Rivers.
And it wasn't only Ndamukong Suh. That was
Demontre Moore, who was just claimed off waivers from the Giants. Dan Campbell told us we'll see more on 3rd down pass rushing situations. He was in there, and he also jumped. So the penalty makes it 3rd and 6. Also gives the Chargers a better look at a field goal if they don't convert here. Pressure coming. Rivers hit as he threw it, and it's incomplete. And a flag is down. Olivier Vernon came in. He's been flagged all season long for going low.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 50. 15 yards, automatic 1st down.
Yeah, he came in low.
We've talked a lot about this. Me as a quarterback, I'm kind of sensitive to it. Olivier Vernon, we've covered them several times this year. He has a propensity to come in low when he doesn't have to go low. Right there you see, was that much of a hit? No, it was not much of a hit.
Low is a penalty.
But especially it is penalty if you're going down there intentionally. And the referees are going to protect, especially the more established quarterbacks, whether you want to admit it or not. It's going to happen with Phillip Rivers more so than it will with Ryan Tannehill.
He was fined for a low hit on Marcus Mariota of the Titans back in Week 6. So the penalty gives San Diego a 1st down. 1st and 10. Woodhead with Gordon still on the sideline, and Woodhead maybe gets a yard.
Yeah, I think without Gordon in the fold or injured, Danny Woodhead being in there as the number 1 running back is going to change their offense here in the late in the 1st half and in the 2nd. They're not going to be able to run the hard inside tackle runs that they did in the 1st half as another player's down.
And Joe Barksdale, the right tackle, he's been the one healthy offensive lineman for the Chargers this year. He's played and started in every game. As Miami called a timeout right after that play, but now the focus is on Barksdale, the 5th-year man out of LSU.
We talked to Mike McCoy, and he acknowledged, he didn't want to make excuses. Yeah, we've had a lot of injuries, particularly to our offensive line. He goes, it's one thing to come into the game, you've had some guys injured, but it's another thing not even to be able to get through games with the same 5 guys you start, and that has been as huge an issue for the Chargers as any other. They can't even make it through one game, let alone starting a game with the same 5 they ended the game with last week. It just hasn't happened for them. They've had more offensive line combinations than any team in the National Football League, and here we go again with Barksdale.
Over 20 different combinations of offensive linemen to start games or to play this year. But the problem is in game, like you're saying, to not be able to finish any games with your same offensive line into the start of the game. It forces guys to play positions they haven't worked on all week long, and you're trying to make the adjustments as the game's going along.
Yeah, Chris Hairston had to gut it up last week and finish the game in Kansas City. It didn't go well, and that's one more example.
And Kenny Wiggins is now in at right tackle, and he's more of a guard. San Diego already out without left tackle King Dunlap, who's out with an injury today. 2nd down and 9. Rivers to Woodhead, has some room. Danny Woodhead dives up ahead to the 5-yard line. He's got a 1st down. 1st and goal for San Diego.
This is going to be their offense here in the second half of it. As it comes out, Woodhead's going to come out, and he's going to just come out and move to the inside. And there it is. And that's their offense. Without Melvin Gordon, they're going to spread it out. They may go some bunch at the end of the line of scrimmage, but they're going to throw this football and use the short game, passing game, as their run game.
Empty backfield. Again, Rivers told us he'd love to hook up with Antonio Gates in what could be the final game ever in San Diego. Woodhead stuffed. Shelby getting in the backfield to sniff out that run.
Well, whatever the audible that Phillip Rivers checked to right there, he checked to that run late. Shelby coming off the right side of the Chargers offense was not touched and just ate up Danny Woodhead along with Olivier Vernon on the backside.
Neither tackle got a block, and both defensive ends made the tackle.
San Diego called a timeout, so the Chargers have 1 remaining.
Yeah, at this point, the Chargers are perfectly willing to let...
Actually, it's Miami who called the timeout.
Yeah, the Chargers are perfectly willing to let this clock run down. They've got a 16-point lead, and the half is about to happen. They're perfectly willing to be conservative here and go in either with a 16-point lead at worst.
Heck, they want a touchdown. What, are you kidding me? They're going to try and score a touchdown here.
So 2 timeouts left for the Dolphins. 1 for San Diego. 51 seconds remain in the second quarter. It's 2nd and goal. Rivers off his back foot, looking for Gates, incomplete. Michael Thomas on the coverage. It's 3rd and goal.
You know, this is the second time Rivers has thrown to that left corner of the end zone where he had a chance one-on-one. And when we get a chance to look at Phillip Rivers, you see right there Antonio Gates. If that ball is up high and in front of him, Gates can go up and make that catch. We saw it earlier with Inman, but watch Rivers' feet, how he's kind of stepping back as he's throwing that ball. That's what he told us about yesterday in our meeting. He said he really wants to work on standing stronger in the pocket. He feels like he's gotten a little bit lazy with his feet as this year has gone along because of the pressure coming from the defense.
Fans thought that was pass interference. 3rd and goal. Rivers on the run, moving right. Rivers fires low. Woodhead makes the catch. Touchdown! 3rd touchdown of the day for Danny Woodhead.
Phillip extended the play. He comes out rolling to his right and bought himself all kinds of time, and it just becomes too much of a stress on the secondary. Woodhead's going to come out of the backfield and end up coming right back to the pylon right there, and that's an easy throw and catch. When Rivers has got that much time and Woodhead's got that much space, that's an easy touchdown.
Now, there's no team that uses the running backs and the tight ends more in the passing game than the San Diego Chargers. Number 1 in terms of number of receptions, number 2 in terms of yards, and number 3 in terms of receiving touchdowns between the running backs and tight ends. Woodhead, Gates, I'd go to them a lot too if I'm a quarterback.
Rivers now has 25 touchdown passes or more in 8 straight years. San Diego extending its lead on Miami. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cower. They'll have all the latest NFL scores, highlights, and analysis of today's game. That's all coming up On the Verizon halftime report, 23-0 in favor of San Diego. Phillip Rivers, 14 of 20, 203 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, but he recovered the fumble on that interception.
Well, one of the things we talked about in the open from Miami's perspective is the issue with Dan Campbell as a head coach. You know, interim head coach, 4-5 to this point in his tenure as head coach. And games like this kind of make a decision for you. He's got to come out and find a way to get his team playing better at the end of this. Not much time here in the end of the first half, but they've got to come out and play like it means something in the second half.
Damian Williams takes a knee. Miami will start this drive at the 20. How about this, guys? This season, Melvin Gordon has 217 touches and no touchdowns. Today, Danny Woodhead has 8 touches and 3 touchdowns. Football can be funny sometimes. Melvin Gordon injured on that last drive.
Funny if you're Danny Woodhead, not so funny if you're Melvin Gordon.
That's true. That's right. So now Miami with 2 timeouts remaining. The Dolphins only have 49 yards of offense in the first half. And this is a Chargers defense that is 27th in the NFL in points per game, allowing 25 per day. Tannehill, chased by Kendall Reyes. Throws on the run, and that one is caught for a first down. It was Kenny Stills coming back to make that play. And what clock is stopped with 27 seconds remaining. Miami has called a timeout.
And that is second charge timeout to Miami. That is one of the plays that you look for on the first play of a drive. Ryan Tannehill going out and extending the play. Now he's got his team out to across the 40-yard line, and 29 seconds left with 1 timeout left. They realistically can expect or hope to get into field goal range now at this point.
Yeah, they've got time with 2 timeouts left, or a timeout, 1 timeout left in 30 seconds. They need 20 yards, 25 yards to get in field goal range, at least one that you would normally try. And that play sets them up to go ahead and try and get into field goal range. If that goes incomplete, they may well kneel down.
Right.
But because of the success they had now, they can go for it and feel good about it.
Just the 3rd first down of the half for Miami. Tannehill complete to Ajayi into San Diego territory and dives up ahead to the 42-yard line. Tannehill trying to hustle his troops to the line and spike the ball. Preserve that 1 timeout. He does just that. Clock is stopped with 15 seconds remaining.
And now they need 7 yards to make it a 53-yard field goal. That's an excellent job by Tannehill in the offense. They used the middle of the field. The Chargers were shutting off the sidelines, thinking they were going to try and get it out of bounds. Great job by Tannehill in doing so. Plus, getting up there and spiking, it was huge, and that's all 11 guys.
That was really good urgency by the whole team. Getting those big boys up front, getting the receivers back and lined up and set. They did that about as efficiently as it can be done. Looks like San Diego might be coming with some pressure, although they took a timeout here before the snap.
Timeout, Chargers. That's their final one with 15 seconds remaining. Again, it's been a season of adversity, as Ryan Tannehill told us, and several key guys learning on the job. Dan Campbell in his 10th game. When he got the interim head coaching job, he promoted Lou Anarumo from secondary coach to the defensive coordinator, and Zach Taylor, the quarterback coach, in just his 3rd game as the play caller after Bill Lazor was fired.
And Dan Campbell told us how difficult those decisions are to make in the role he's in now as a head coach. You think about all the great things that would be involved with being the head coach and the opportunity, but the things like having to fire his offensive coordinator, Billy Lazor, and then promoting Zach Taylor right there. You see him as the play caller. Very, very difficult decisions to come to, but he felt it was in the best interest of the team. That's what you got. You got to have the guts to make those calls if you want to be a big-time head coach.
Dolphins have moved Dallas Thomas to left tackle and Jamil Douglas to left guard, with Brandon Albert still out with an injury. They benched Ulrich John. 2nd and 10. Pressure coming. Ball is out. Loose on the ground. Miami falls on it at midfield. Mike Pouncey recovered And now a timeout with 5 seconds has been called by Miami.
Well, I really don't know what Miami was doing here on the left side. The left tackle for Miami just gets absolutely blitzed by Melvin Ingram, and Phillip Rivers had no chance.
Well, that's what I just said. They moved the left guard, Dallas Thomas, to left tackle, and that's a position that Thomas does not frequently play.
It's a totally different kind of pass set, and you're dealing with speed off the edge as opposed to having help from both your center and your tackle when you're in a guard position. It just shows you, it exaggerates and shows you how important it is to try and keep your big boys healthy up front.
Well, they took Ulrich John off the field and replaced him with Dallas Thomas at left tackle, and then inserted Jameel Douglas at guard because Ulrich John was having trouble at left tackle, so they tried to upgrade it, and it didn't go well. I mean,
and you almost lost your quarterback right there on that play, because those are the kind of shots that do knock out quarterbacks.
So 3rd and 21. Neither team has a timeout remaining. Tannehill going to throw one toward the end zone. And this one's way out of bounds as time expires, and really a fitting way for Miami to close out the first half. 77 yards of offense and just 4 first downs. That's the end of the first half with the score: San Diego 23, Miami nothing. We'll be back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
Nobody can drag me down.
Start of the third quarter in San Diego. The Chargers lead the Dolphins 23-0. Back in the booth with Steve Berlon and Steve Tasker. I'm Andrew Catalan. Potentially the final game ever here in San Diego. And the Chargers said that if this is it, they want to go out on a good note. And so far, they're halfway to accomplishing that. What an impressive performance.
Really impressive. The Danny Woodhead show. Phillip Rivers and Danny Woodhead. 3 touchdowns for the littlest guy in the football field. Great first half for the Chargers. Not so much for the Dolphins. Dan Campbell's got to find a way to get this team fired up.
Well, the Dolphins have only been across the midfield point on offense one time. It's been a total team effort by the Chargers. Their defense has risen up, stopped the run. Their run game was really working with Melvin Gordon. Now, unfortunately, he left the game with an injury, and Danny Woodhead took over. I think that's going to change the Chargers' offensive scheme here in the second half. But up to this point, they have dominated on both sides of the football.
Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. The Dolphins with just 77 yards of offense in the first half, and they will kick off to begin the second half. San Diego's lost 5 straight at home. It's their longest home losing streak in the same season since 2000, when their quarterbacks that year were Ryan Leaf and Jim Harbaugh. Trying to end that streak here, and they're looking good, up 23-0.
Yeah, the Dolphins need to find a way to jumpstart themselves. The best way to do it is to play a good series defensively, try and get them back into the ball game.
Let's check in with Scott Kaplan.
Andrew, Mike McCoy said he wasn't sure if Melvin Gordon was going to return here in the second half. He said he'll have a better idea as the second half starts. As for Dan Campbell, he said we plan to establish a run because of the injury at the left tackle position. Not able to do that, not able to run, or not able to get pass protection as well. He said defensively, very undisciplined on the Miami side. He said that the San Diego receivers are beating the Miami defensive backs on double moves, and he said, quote, we've got to clean that up. Andrew?
All right, Scott, and Melvin Gordon does not start in the backfield. In fact, it's Donald Brown who does not have a touch so far today. So it's Brown starting at running back here in the second half for San Diego. Rivers firing sideline, caught by Herndon for a first down. That is the third catch today for Javonte Herndon as we take a look at the quarterback comparison in the first half, and a very quiet half for Ryan Tannehill in Miami.
Yeah, they keep putting themselves in the 3rd and long situations, and that isn't a hole that no quarterback wants to be in. No play caller wants to be in. Zach Taylor, you don't have a lot of plays to convert 3rd and 15. So Ryan Tannehill knows that the whole team's got to step up and keep themselves in better situations.
16-yard gain for Herndon. This is Donald Brown's first carry and just his 13th carry of the season. No Brandon Oliver, went on injured reserve November 3rd. Melvin Gordon now out for the time being for San Diego. So just 2 running backs up, Danny Woodhead and Donald Brown.
Yeah, if the Dolphins are going to get back in this football game here in the second half, their defense is going to not only have to get a stop, but they're also going to have to get turnovers. They had one and they gave it right back. We'll see if they can get it done again on a 2nd and 11.
Rivers' pass is deflected and nearly intercepted. Rashad Jones almost had his 2nd interception of the day.
Well, that's what it's going to take. The Dolphins are going to have to get a tip pass or an interception like they had in the first half. That's on the outside. That's
Kelvin
Shepard jumping up and getting a piece of that. And that's what it takes. I mean, if you're down in a game like this, and Berline, you and I have both been in that situation, it takes some special plays to get back in it. Turnovers are the best way.
It's a game of inches right there. Jones almost had that interception. Those are the plays that obviously win and lose ball games.
Dolphins need a defensive stand here. It's 3rd and 9. Rivers in trouble. Rivers stays on his feet and throws incomplete. And Ndamukong Suh was there and somehow could not drag Rivers to the ground.
He is livid as well. He thought he was held in getting to Rivers. It looked like Rivers was sacked by Suh, and he got away. Right out here.
He just pushes all the way back, Barksdale all the way back into Rivers' lap.
I didn't see any holding there.
I think he's just fired up. I think he's just fired up because he's just trying to pump a little life into that defense. I've never seen him moved out to the edge like that. Good move by Lou Anarumo, the defensive coordinator.
Jarvis Landry back deep to receive the punt, a short one from Cypress. There's a flag down, and Cypress got tangled up, and now there's an injured Dolphin down as well. Cypress is still on the ground.
And that's
Chris McCain is the injured Dolphin.
McCain's not moving at all. They both stayed down, and there was a convergence of bodies in there.
You can see McCain's left elbow was moving there.
There are 2 fouls on the play, 1 by each team. Holding offense, number 40, running into the kicker. Those fouls will offset. Replay 4th down.
Well, the question is,
timeout on the field. We'll step aside as well and come back to San Diego right after this. Back in San Diego, and the card has come out for Chris McCain, who cannot put any weight on his left leg. And he is being helped onto the card. 2nd-year man out of Cal, who's been pretty much reduced to a special teams role this year and clearly in a lot of pain.
Yeah, there was a big collision right at the point. You see there, Cyphers was the one that he got pushed into. And then there was a hold by the long snapper, Wint, on the play as well, which piled everybody into Cypress and McCain. And it's just one of those unfortunate instances when the defensive guys, the punt rush team's trying to make a play, and the offensive team is desperate to keep it going and get the punt off.
And because there was a penalty for running into the kicker, Cypress does not have to come out of the game. He can still punt. Usually if there's a timeout because of an injury, that player has to sit out a play, but that's not the case in this situation because it was running into the kicker. And Cypress is okay to punt it again, which he has to do because they're replaying the down. It's 4th and 9. Meanwhile, Melvin Ingram has a knee injury, and his return is questionable for San Diego. So we'll punt it away again. Cyphers to Landry. Good kick by Cypress. Landry from his own 16. Landry across the 30 to the 34-yard line with 13:23 to go in the third quarter. Tonight on CBS, the new season of Undercover Boss kicks off with a jaw-dropping episode. Don't miss the season premiere tonight after 60 minutes, only CBS.
Here's a look at Miami's first half possessions. It is not good.
5 punts in the first half for Matt Darr, and then the last drive, Tannehill just threw it out of bounds on the final play of the half. They'll start this drive at the 34 on 1st and 10. Lamar Miller. And Miller met by Kendall Reyes and Jerry Atachu, and a short gain on the play.
I like the first call by Zach Taylor coming out and running the read option. That takes a lot of pressure. If you're worried about your left tackle, you just don't block the defensive end in the read option. You have him blocked down inside. You let the quarterback read that defensive end, and that determines who gets the football.
No huddle for Miami, trying to get something going, a rhythm, and that one's nearly intercepted. That's Craig Mager who made a diving attempt at the pick. Now, when Miami brought in Zach Taylor as the play caller 3 games ago, they expanded their no-huddle package, and now we're seeing the Dolphins try to go to it there, but this time they'll huddle up.
And we saw Melvin Ingram back. You mentioned he was injured. He's back on the field now for the Chargers. He gave good pressure on that last throw by Ryan Tannehill again.
Yeah, Brandon Albert remains out, the left tackle, so the left guard, Dallas Thomas, continues to slot into the left tackle position. Certainly an area to keep an eye on 3rd and 9. Pressure coming, and Tannehill is sacked. Atachu, one of the first ones back there for San Diego, and Ingram again was there for the Chargers.
The Dolphins have no answer for this exotic blitz package the Chargers are running on 3rd down. You see all the bodies up inside. They're running twists and stunts and all kinds of stuff. The looper right there coming around was Atachu, and no one was there to pass off and pick him up. He's got a free run. Again, Ingram coming from the other side as well. Free run at the quarterback. Not good for Ryan Tannehill and the Dolphins.
6.5 sacks on the season for Jerry Atachu, the second-year man out of Georgia Tech. Another punt by Miami. Herndon from the 26. And out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Miami still scoreless. They trail 23-0.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Zales. Declare your love with gifts from Zales, the Diamond Store. And by Bose. Music deserves Bose.
Aerial coverage of today's game provided by MetLife. 12:05 to go, third quarter, and the Chargers lead 23-0. Last year in Miami, the Dolphins shut out the Chargers 37-0. And this year, so far, the Chargers returning the favor. Rivers to Brown, incomplete. Donald Brown remains at running back, and Melvin Gordon is questionable to return with that knee injury.
Yeah, that right there is a play where a guy who hasn't touched the ball very much during the season needed to make a play by instinct, and he just didn't and Phillip Rivers trying to throw it out there to him, and Donald Brown just hasn't gotten enough reps to be able to make a play like that. It needs to be right on the money for him.
Rivers, this one's on target to Ladarius Green, who stretches out to the 44-yard line. Michael Thomas makes the tackle. Bobby McCain has a knee injury for Miami, and his return is doubtful.
You're talking about Donald Brown, though, Steve, and it's a great luxury that the Chargers do have him there. His experience coming in as a third running back to go along with Danny Woodhead. That's a tandem you can do a lot of different things with.
It's Chris McCain who has a knee injury, and his return is doubtful, as we saw him helped off on the cart. 3rd down and 3. Rivers in trouble, still on his feet, and now they will blow the whistle. And Ndamukong Suh was back there for Miami. Didn't get him last time, but he does this time.
Yeah, there's just nowhere to go. They get good push up inside. Rivers tries to climb the pocket, and by that time, Sue has just pushed Fluker back into the lap of Phillip Rivers, and Phillip Rivers just tucks it away and waits for the whistle to blow.
You saw Ndamukong Suh with that left arm extended up under the chin of DJ Fluker. I mean, he just had all the leverage and had Fluker on roller skates going back into Phillip Rivers.
So Jarvis Landry once again back deep for the Dolphins. Landry comes up and juggles it at the 30 and lunges ahead to the 32 with 10:22 to go in the third quarter. The Bikes for Kids Foundation is a nonprofit organization founded with the purpose of doing something good for children in need. And this year's biggest sponsor, the Chargers. Some players recently visited Miller Elementary School to help distribute 230 new bicycles and helmets to second and third graders. The bikes came as a surprise to the children, who clearly were very excited. And a lot of the Charger fans in attendance very excited with the result right now, but still, you have to imagine what's going through their minds. Is this the last time that they're sitting in Qualcomm Stadium watching their Chargers play? An emotional afternoon for the players, for the fans, for everyone involved here in San Diego. Chargers lead 23-0. Pressure coming, and Tannehill is dropped again. Guess who? Melvin Ingram, and the Dolphins continue to have big problems on the left side of their offensive line.
Well, we've talked about it, Steve Berline. What defenders you'll watch here, and Melvin Ingram is just going to come right off. He just whiffs. I mean, that is just... Yeah, Dallas Thomas is guard, and guards just are not used to playing in that kind of space where the guy can run a circle around him.
He's given him too much room to make a move and get around him. He's got to slow his initial charge, get a hand on him at some point.
Miller and Lamar Miller with not much doing.
We talked also, Steve Berline, defensive coordinators like Lou Anarumo here or John Pagano for the Chargers. If you get a good play on an offense for an offensive coordinator, they won't come back to it for 3 or 4 plays or maybe the next series. If you're a defensive coordinator and you got a call that's working, man, those guys hammer it.
If they get to you once, they're going to keep coming with it until you show you can stop it. That is a defensive mentality.
That's where the Dolphins are sitting right now. The Chargers have got a weak spot for the Dolphins, and they are exploiting it every single snap of the ball.
Miami has failed on their last 7 third down conversions. And this one is 3rd and 18. Tannehill to Deion Sims. A flag comes in at the line of scrimmage. Sims is tackled at the 29-yard line.
Well, our guy Dallas Thomas just basically had as good a takedown as I've seen in a few years.
Yeah, but they'll decline it.
Holding. Offense number 63. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
You'll see you run stunts at a guy who's not used to being in this. Watch how he bounces off and just tackles Melvin Ingram straight into the ground.
Yeah,
he's just not used to seeing the stunts coming from that left tackle position. John Pagano, you are 100% right, Steve Tasker. John Pagano is all over that, and they're going to keep throwing things at Dallas Thomas until they get somebody else out there.
Matt Darr with his 7th punt of the afternoon. A good one to Herndon, who fields it at the 17. And Herndon gets 3 after a 53-yard punt from Matt Darr.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Papa John's, official pizza sponsor of the NFL. And by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
8:25 to go. Third quarter, San Diego is up 23-0. And a lot of signs in the stands today from these Chargers fans who don't want their team to leave San Diego. 1st and 10 for the Chargers from the 20. It's Donald Brown on the carry, and Brown The flag down is still going. Donald Brown all the way out to the 35-yard line. Let's see if it stands. It would be a gain of 15.
7-4. 10-yard penalty.
Well, for the reason why it's Donald Brown getting the carries, let's check in with Scott Kaplan.
Andrew, Melvin Gordon has been in the locker room for the entire second half. However, he did just emerge from the San Diego locker room, not in uniform, in street clothes. So the left knee injury, earlier reported as a questionable return. I think it's fair to say we can now rule Melvin Gordon out of this game on the sideline, in street clothes, left knee.
All right, Scott, disappointing for Gordon, who was really off to a good start in that first half. Had something going on the ground with 15 carries. And right now it's Donald Brown next to Rivers after the penalty on Orlando Franklin. Fourth penalty this year on the fifth-year left guard out of Miami. Rivers over the middle. And that pass is caught. It's Ladarius Green to the 17-yard line. It'll be second down. Michael Thomas on the stop.
Michael Thomas.
Well, the tight end position for San Diego, another area of strength. Ladarius Green would be a featured tight end on a lot of NFL teams. There's just a guy by the name of Antonio Gates who happens to be a little bit more established that keeps him from really emerging as one of the top tight ends in the league.
Rivers has 88 completions to his tight ends this year, tied for the second most in the NFL. Only the Titans have thrown more to their tight ends. This one is Donald Brown with pressure coming. Brown seeing the field well and gets all the way across the 25-yard line, a couple of yards shy of a first down.
There's nobody better than Phillip Rivers at doing this. He makes it look so easy. Watch the little flick of his wrist right there to Donald Brown, whether it's Donald Brown or Danny Woodhead, Melvin Gordon, whoever it might be. When he senses pressure and a soft spot, he flicks that ball to the running back, lets them get going north and south.
3rd and 3. Rivers sideline, incomplete. And there's a late flag.
They got to call that. I mean, you can say it's a late flag, but he hooked him. Malcolm Floyd.
We were throwing the flag from up here.
The Dolphins don't like it, but that's a penalty.
Defense number 27. Ball replaces the spot of the foul. First down.
And they call it on the safety, Shamil Gary. But it looked like it was Tony Lippett in coverage. Yeah, that's Tony Lippett, who was on the coverage of Malcolm Floyd. Fascinating story in Lippett. He was the Big Ten wide receiver of the year last year at Michigan State. Dolphins drafted him, have tried to convert him into a cornerback, and Dan Campbell told us last night that he wanted to see a little more out of Lippett, one of the young guys with the playoffs not a factor now for Miami since they've been eliminated, that they want to see try to get some experience as Donald Brown carries.
Well, one of the things he likes about Lippett is the fact that he's tall and long like a lot of the cornerbacks are today. He's 6'3", 200 pounds. When you talk about Brent Grimes and Bryce McCain, Bobby McCain, all those guys are under 6 feet tall. So the luxury of a guy with some length on the outside really has Dan Campbell and his defensive staff excited.
As Campbell said, though, he is still very raw, and we saw it on that penalty. 2nd and 6.
His man coverage. They left Lippett all by himself out there.
Going right at him, completes it to Malcolm Floyd on a stop-and-go route. A gain of 32, Rivers to Floyd.
Don't think for 1 second that Phillip Rivers or any other quarterback in this league, they know all about Lippett. They know he's a converted wide receiver. Believe me, he's going to get a lot of action as long as he's out there on the football field. Phillip Rivers is going to keep trying to see if he can play with his back to the football.
Danny Woodhead on the carry runs right into Olivier Vernon. Vernon with an interesting offseason coming up. He's a free agent at the end of the year. He's had a nice year for Miami. He's a Miami native, went to American high school, played his college football at Miami, and says, I love Miami, but as we all know, it's a business, and if he gets paid big bucks somewhere else, he could be gone.
Well, he's not the only one as well. There are some others, and they've got some changes on the horizon.
Rivers quick pass to Herndon at the 30. Kelvin Shepard with a big tackle. Shepard third on the team in tackles this year for the Dolphins defense. He had 14 against the Cowboys.
Yeah, you talk about guys like Olivier Vernon, who's going to be a free agent. Also, the running back Lamar Miller, Derek Shelby, the guy down inside on the defensive line. Cam Wake, who they've lost for the season with an Achilles, who's going to be 34 years old and has an $8.3 million salary cap hit. I mean, they've got a lot of changes coming to this roster. This was a year that they had kind of invested in as being a big year for them. It didn't happen, and as a result, they're going to have to pay the piper after the season is over in more ways than one.
And Rivers will call timeout with 1 on the play clock.
Philip Rivers having a little conversation with the defense.
.403 to go third quarter. Chargers still in command, 23-0 with Steve Berline, Steve Tasker, and Scott Kaplan. I'm Andrew Catalan, our entire NFL on CBS crew. It's third down and 5. Rivers slips as he throws, still completes it to Woodhead, but he is tackled by Shepard for a loss.
They're going to get him for a horse collar. Late flag just came in. The tackle, Shepard might have got up underneath Danny Woodhead's collar.
Yeah, the question is where his hand was. Was it inside the collar of the pad around his neck, or did he just grab the jersey? The jersey's fine, of course.
Dolphins had a season-high 123 yards and penalties on Monday night against the Giants.
Kelvin Shepard looks like he's trying to sell the fact that he didn't have his face mask and he had his helmet.
Yeah, that he had the horse collar.
That's not a good idea.
No, just be quiet.
You're not helping.
After discussion on the field, there is no foul for a horse collar. Fourth down.
And there you have it.
So they pick up the penalty, fourth down, and out comes the field goal kicker, Josh Lambo.
Let's take a look at it. You'll see the left hand right there. You can't really tell whether that is inside, but it looked like a horse collar to me.
Well, I'm saying it's a horse collar because that's what he said it was when he was trying to tell the official it wasn't a face mask.
That pretty much incriminated himself with the horse collar, but he got off on the face mask.
There you go.
So Lambo from 48 yards away. He's 1 for 1 on the day, but he did miss an extra point. This one drifting right and no good. So Lambo is now 1 for 2 on the day, along with a missed PAT.
Now that ball was, from the get-go, was right, never came back. A lot of times the kickers you see and they'll hook it back in, but that one just stayed out right, even started drifting right.
It was a good snap and hold, and it never had a chance.
So the Dolphins get the ball back, 1st and 10 from their own 37-yard line with 3:39 to go. Miami has just 68 yards of offense today. Landry. And he gets 3 more as we go back to New York. An update with JB and Tony Gonzalez.
One of the league's top combos.
Yeah, Big Ben Roethlisberger is going to hit his favorite target, Antonio Brown, for the 9-yard touchdown. That's his 8th on the year. Pittsburgh needs to win this game if they're going to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Back to Andrew.
JB, thank you. And we have a penalty before that snap.
Full start. Offense number 63. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
So stay with me on this story, but a lot of the Dolphins' struggles right now could actually be attributed to Andy Dalton. When he injured his thumb, Cincinnati wanted to sign Logan Thomas off Miami's practice squad. Miami wanted to keep Thomas, so they elevated Thomas and they cut Jeff Linkenbach, who's their backup tackle. Linkenbach was actually picked up by San Diego as Ajayi's on the ground, but now Brandon Albert goes down, and they have Dallas Thomas, a guard, playing left tackle. So because Miami wanted to keep Logan Thomas and not let Cincinnati sign him, they're playing shorthanded on the line, and it's cost them big time today.
They wanted to save a quarterback that might be able to play in the NFL. They had sacrificed an offensive lineman that they desperately need in this game.
And as a result, they might get their franchise quarterback killed. Let's connect the dots here.
All because of Andy Dalton.
Let's blame Andy Dalton. He usually gets blamed for most of the problems anyway.
On 3rd and 8. Tannehill, good protection this time, looking for Parker. What a catch! The rookie reels it in at the 25. A 35-yard hookup.
Really was a sweet catch. You called it, Andrew. I mean, you look at the adjustment that he makes to this ball. Not really open, but right there, just was able to read the arc on the football, separated from the defender. What a sweet catch that was.
Miami goes no huddle, quick pass to Landry. And Landry runs out of bounds at the 21-yard line. Best drive, which again isn't saying much today for Miami, but this is their best drive of the day.
Well, it was their best play of the day, is what we can say. Making a big chunk of yards like that makes a big difference.
Ajayi up the middle to the 15, still going. And Ajayi fights his way to the 12. Dan Campbell really likes Ajayi, the rookie out of Boise State. Calls him an angry runner. He runs downhill and aggressive, and that's the type of running that Dan Campbell likes. And there's an injured Dolphin down on the field, and it's their center, Mike Pouncey. So an area where we've just highlighted how thin Miami is at offensive line. Now Mike Pouncey is down on the ground.
Ulrich John will come back into the game. Somebody's going to have to snap the football.
We don't know who the backup center would be.
Jamil Douglas did play center earlier this season for Miami, so it would be him, but he's been playing left guard.
So Douglas will move into guard. Ulrich may come in at the guard, and they may leave
Douglas move into
Dallas
center,
Thomas. Yeah, Jamil Douglas will play center, but Ulrich John and Dallas Thomas will see who plays guard and tackle, because right now it's a coin flip because both have played both. And both have played both today.
First and foremost, let's hope Mike Pouncey is okay. Having another Pro Bowl caliber year in his 5th year out of Florida.
Good luck there, let's get to know a member of this year's team a little bit better. A lot of great preparation. I know the way the players are prepared all
This is his helmet right there.
One speed route runner, or does it still?
And he got rolled up on.
Chargers Insider, Fridays this season on Fox Sports San Diego.
And there is Jamil Douglas practicing to take over at center, the rookie who's had a rough go this year. He started as the right guard, but was demoted in favor of Billy Turner. So Douglas has been coming off the bench, and it's been pretty bad experience at center for Douglas week 12 against the Jets. When Pouncey was injured, Douglas had to come in, and he struggled to say the least, trying to get the ball to Ryan Tannehill. Prior to this game, to his defense, Douglas had never played center at any level except for a few snaps week 7 against the Texans when they were blowing out Houston, just tried to get him some experience. So this is not a position he has a lot of experience at, as Mike Pouncey hobbles off the field.
Not only not a lot of experience, not a lot of success either when the small experience that he does have. I mean, he really struggled in that game against the Jets, and that's why he hasn't been asked to do it since, even though Pouncey came back. I mean, they're just...
But at the same time,
they're one play away from having a tight end playing tackle.
But these are decisions that are made during the course. If you don't have a legitimate backup center, then you're setting yourself up for a situation like this.
So Douglas at center, Thomas goes back to left guard, and Ulrich John comes in at left tackle. Miami right now does not have a backup offensive lineman available as Ajayi gets the call. Jay Ajayi spinning his way and scoring his first NFL touchdown.
That offensive line didn't look too bad on that run play.
No, they came straight ahead. And what a great run by Jay Ajayi. I mean, look at the balance and the body control when he gets up through that line. Good push up front.
They're going to cave that all down to the right, and Ajayi just comes back and cuts it back behind all the big pile of bodies and gets right into the end zone.
First 33 plays of the game, Miami had 75 yards of offense. In the last 4 plays, 60 yards of offense, in the first NFL touchdown for Jay Ajayi, as Mike Pouncey, you see, carded into the Dolphins locker room. And here's Andrew Franks on for the extra point. And the rookie boots it through. So Miami finally on the board with 1:30 to go in the third quarter.
It's good.
With 1:30 to go, let's check in with Scott Kaplan.
Well, guys, Phillip Rivers, we've documented possibly playing his final game here as the San Diego Charger in Qualcomm Stadium. When we asked him yesterday what his favorite memory was, he said we were 4-8 and we stormed back to 8-8, won the division, and hosted a playoff game against Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis Colts. And then his eyes lit up and he said, "I left slot 30 ISO." That was the play. He gave it to Darren Sproles. Sproles went around the left side into the end zone for a walk-off, and Phillip Rivers told us Qualcomm Stadium rocked as good as any stadium in the NFL. He recalled that 2008 playoff win against Indianapolis as his top memory here at Qualcomm Stadium, Andrew.
23-17 in overtime after the Sproles touchdown. And as you said, Scott, they snuck in the playoffs that year, got in at 8-8, and defeated Peyton Manning for the second straight year in the playoffs. Certainly one of the fondest memories Rivers has had in this stadium. And Rivers wanted to make it clear, because there's been some talk this year how, the Chargers have had to use a silent count at home with so many fans from the other teams in the stadium, and there's a lot of Miami here today as well, Dolphins supporters. But he wanted to make it clear that even though it's been a strange year with the home fans, it's an awesome building, one that he has loved playing in. Well, the first regular season game ever played at this stadium was September 9th, 1967 against the Boston Patriots. Paul Lowe scored the first touchdown, taking it in from 7 yards away. John Hadle connected with Willie Frazier for 2 touchdowns, and the Chargers sealed it when Kenny Graham returned an interception, 68 yards for a score. San Diego defeated the Boston Patriots 28-14. 1 year in LA, and then moved to San Diego in 1961. 55 years of football here in San Diego as Rivers completes it to Donald Brown, and he gets to the 22-yard line before Olivier Vernon makes the tackle.
Yeah, it hasn't been just those years and the great seasons that they've had, of which there's been not been that many, but it's a lot of good ones. There's also been a lot of Hall of Fame players who had tremendous careers and contributed to the NFL at large and its history in this building, and it's sad to say goodbye to that.
Rivers to Donald Brown, who reverses field, trying to get past Bryce McCain, and he does. And a nice run by Donald Brown. And Chargers looking good in what could be their final game here in San Diego, and it'll be a busy few weeks coming up for the Spanos family, led by the chairman, Dean, who was at the team's walkthrough yesterday. So many things still up in the air. Which way will it go? Will it be the Rams getting to go to LA? Will the Raiders and Chargers share a stadium? The big day is January 13th in Houston, when there's a tentative vote set for relocation. And again, you need 24 of the 32 votes from the owners to get it, and it still seems like there's a lot of uncertainty in that vote that's coming up.
But say what you want. The Spanos family, the Chargers, and also the Raiders, they have been trying to get stadiums for a long time, and their cities have had a lot of opportunities.
That's the end of the third quarter. Chargers lead 23-7. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 50. High above Qualcomm Stadium, start of the fourth quarter. Chargers lead the Dolphins 23-7. San Diego trying to stop a 5-game home losing streak. Let's check in with Scott Kaplan.
Andrew, quick one here from the Miami sideline. Linebacker Koa Macy is out with a calf, and Pouncey is going to be gone now for Miami with his foot.
All right, Scott, so the offensive line struggles will continue in terms of the health for Miami. Brandon Albert went out earlier, and now Mike Pouncey, you're saying, not coming back, as the Chargers will have a third down coming up. Third and 6 for Phillip Rivers, who has 276 yards passing on the day. If he gets over 300, he'd tie Dan Fouts' single-season record for most 300-yard passing games in a year. This would be number 8. Chargers to Gates with room to run, but a good tackle from behind by Michael Thomas. Not before Gates picked up 12 and a first down.
Yeah, you still see Antonio Gates. He may not have quite the burst he used to have, but his knowledge of the game, his understanding, and his overall athletic ability, he still has a lot of big plays in between those that 8 and that 5. Boy, he knows how to play the game, and when Phillip Rivers needs a big catch, he knows he can count on that guy.
Woodhead at running back, he gets the call here. And Woodhead greeted by Olivier Vernon. Well, getting back to Gates, we asked Dan Campbell, who's a former tight end in the NFL for 11 years, who's the best tight end that he thinks is in NFL history. And he said Ditka and Bavaro, probably 1-2 in his mind, but there's no doubt he would put Antonio Gates right in that conversation. Hard to argue with 103 career touchdowns for the 13th year man out of Kent State. To Woodhead, and Woodhead right to the chains. That'll be close to a first down after Rivers changed the call at the line. What a day for Danny Woodhead with 3 Charger touchdowns.
It started out early, that got that first touchdown on the first drive, and got 2 more after that in the first half.
Woodhead was ruled short of a first down. They give it right back to him on 3rd down.
It looks like they're going to give him the spot, and he's going to get it. If that looks to me good enough for a first down. Look at that right there, and this right here.
They're going to measure.
That's a first down.
Phillip Rivers caught us with the quick count there, trying to get up and get the ball snapped before the Dolphins could be set.
How about that? Steve Tasker was so confident from way up here in the booth, and he was right by a millimeter. Got some good eyes there, Tasker.
Well, no, I don't. I got lucky.
So first down for San Diego. Chargers had only scored 3 points in 3 of their last 4 games, but today they have 354 yards of offense and 23 points on the board. It's Donald Brown, and he runs right over Brent Grimes. An 8-yard run for Donald Brown. He was inactive the first 5 games of the season, then was actually cut, re-signed October 3rd, has been in this reserve role, but when he's had some chances here in the last few games, he's made the most of them.
He has stepped up, and again, that's the luxury that Mike McCoy has. This is a 7th-year guy. He's a good professional football player, several years in Indianapolis, and he's a perfect fit as a complimentary back to Melvin Gordon and Danny Woodhead.
Brown gets away from Sue, but the rest of the Dolphins defense quickly closes, led by Grimes.
Yeah, this is a play. You see this, that's a full box with defenders, and they just sold out, thinking there's no way Phillip Rivers is going to try and throw this football in this situation with this kind of lead, and they were right. They sold out for the run, packed the box with all the defenders they could spare, and shut that run game down for a loss.
Chargers have gone 11 straight games without rushing for 100 yards as a team. They have 80 yards rushing today. Rivers throwing here. And that one is caught by Antonio Gates, his 6th reception of the day.
You know, those two guys just make it look so easy. They've thrown the football back and forth so many times, not just in games, but the hundreds of times in practice. They've played their entire career together. They know each other so well. And even you talk to them, even sit down and talk to them, the way they speak about each other has so much familiarity in it. You know that when Philip Rivers throws it, he can throw it earlier in the route to Antonio Gates than any other receiver because he knows what's going to happen at the end of the route.
Gates said this week he's not thinking about retiring. He's 35 years old, but his contract is up as Brown runs up the middle and a flag comes in from behind the play.
Holding, offense number 60, 10-yard penalty, first down.
That goes on the center, Trevor Robinson. The Chargers going to have a lot of decisions in the offseason as well, not only with where they're going to play football next year, but in terms of how Tom Telesco, the 30-year GM, can reshape this roster a little bit. And certainly Gates as a free agent is one guy they're going to have to think about, and you would think that he would be back. But Eric Weddle is another guy who is a free agent at the end of the year, said he felt highly disrespected in the offseason when he did not get offered a contract extension, and Weddle says he's looking to play somewhere else next year. So that's one of the many decisions that Tom Telesco and the Chargers front office will have to make here in the offseason. 1st and 20 after the penalty, and Herndon reels it in. A flag is down as Herndon is run out at the 22-yard line.
They're going to call Dontrell Inman for an illegal block on the outside. He was blocking before the receiver got the ball.
Offense number 15, 10-yard penalty, first down.
He was blocking while the ball was in the air. It's considered pass interference offensively. You see right there at the bottom, Dontrell Inman, 15. In college, that's a legal play. In the NFL, not so much.
Brings up a first and so many lines, I'm having a hard time counting them all. 30, 1st and 30.
As we approach 9 minutes remaining here in the 4th quarter, and again, it's become a little eerily silent here in Qualcomm as the fans could be watching the final time the Chargers play on this field. I think it's really starting to set in with the Chargers having this lead, and the lights are now on as we move closer to sunset. Rivers going to wind up, throw this one to Floyd deep, and it is intercepted. Brent Grimes on the INT for Miami.
Oh, Rivers is mad at himself. He had Malcolm Floyd open. That ball was thrown late, and that is why it was intercepted. Malcolm Floyd was 2 steps behind. Was it Grimes? Yeah, 2 steps behind. You could see how far behind him he was.
He couldn't get enough on. He didn't get enough on that throw, and he threw it too late. As a result, it's picked off.
4th interception of the season for Brent Grimes.
You are watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 50.
8:39 to go, 4th quarter. Dolphins will start this drive at their own 1-yard line following the interception by Brent Grimes. 5 receivers set for Tannehill from his own end zone, and that pass is complete up to Damian Williams, who's run out by Jaleel Adai. So that gives Miami a little bit of breathing room, and really what's become crunch time for the Dolphins, trailing 23-7. Clock is ticking, 8:30 to go. Tannehill to Landry over the middle, gets by 2. And Landry tiptoes his way up across the 15-yard line for a Miami first down.
Now you can bet when you get into this situation, you got to start thinking players instead of plays. If you're Miami, you're going to throw the football about on every down. Landry's going to be an enormous part of this, as well as the 2 other wide receivers in Stills and Parker. Look, that's where Tannehill's going to go with the football.
He hands it off here to Williams, who's cut from behind. Cordero Law with the nice tackle as Miami continues to go no huddle.
But you got to continue to find ways to counter the pass rush of the Chargers. So the Dolphins are going to do that on draw plays and screen passes.
Tannehill chased by Law, and Tannehill just throws this one away.
Yeah, now they're going to use Tannehill to get some, move the pocket a little bit. He's a little bit unhappy with what happened on that play.
And I'll tell you, we were talking about this yesterday. This is the first time I've seen Ryan Tannehill really show some fire and get mad and get upset and show that emotion. Someone's got to find a way to get this team responding and moving in the right direction. It's on the quarterback, in my opinion, to be that guy.
Timeout on the field, and we'll come back to San Diego right after this.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. Find your agent at statefarm.com. Wendy's. And by Cialis.
Following the injury timeout for Patrick Robinson, it's 3rd and 9 for Miami. They're 2 for 10 on third downs. Tannehill chased out by Reyes, and it's incomplete. Jay Ajayi, the intended target in Miami, will send out the punt team.
Man, you got to catch that ball. You got to pull that in.
No doubt about it. He turned his shoulders and hips too much. That ball was not that far behind him where he needed to stop and turn his full body around and fall backwards. He made that a lot more difficult than he needed to. That ball was a pretty well-thrown ball by Ryan Tannehill.
The team record for most punts by Miami in a game is 11. This is the 8th punt for Matt Dahl. Herndon, the return man for the Chargers. And Herndon across the 40 to the 42-yard line. With 7:05 to go, Chargers still up 23-7.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by FedEx. How the holidays arrive. And by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K.
30-7 in favor of the Chargers as they're about to end a 5-game home losing streak. Josh Lambo, the rookie kicker, will kick off with 4:14 to go in the fourth quarter. Damian Williams will return this one from 6 yards deep. And Williams is tackled at the 17. Well, what's up next for the Chargers? Christmas Eve. Only on NFL Network, they'll take on the Raiders, and then a special Saturday edition of Thursday Night Football as the Redskins take on the Eagles, with the NFC East still up for grabs. Redskins won earlier today, defeating the Bills. Giants lost to the Panthers. Eagles play about an hour from now against Arizona. So Ryan Tannehill, who's 14 of 23 for just 142 yards, will start this drive trailing 30-7 from his own 17-yard line. Jordan Cameron with his first catch and a quick tackle by Jaleel Adai. Scott Kaplan has an interesting report. Take it away, Scott.
Andrew, emotional moment here on the Chargers sideline. Mike McCoy brings Phillip Rivers, Antonio Gates, and Malcolm Floyd together after the touchdown and says, next time we get the ball on offense, one play, then I'm bringing all you guys out so the fans can show their emotion, and watch for him to do the same thing with Weddle on the defensive side.
That's great stuff. You see that sometimes in other sports, but it's more difficult to do it in football, but that's at least what Mike McCoy is planning. And, you know, Phillip Rivers, we sat with him for a while yesterday morning, and he told us that once the game started, he thought it would just be all about the game, but now that they're up 30-7 and time's ticking away, there's no doubt that this is creeping into the mind of Rivers, who has played here in San Diego his entire career. The Chargers have said they'll stay after the game to sign autographs for the fans in the stands, as Tannehill's incomplete on 3rd and 5, and got sent to the ground by Jerry Itachu, and it's 4th and 5, and Dan Campbell's going to keep the offense on the field.
Ryan Tannehill right there again, just taking another hit. He's had a pretty physical day today in terms of receiving hits, punishment from the San Diego defense. It's come out ready to play under John Pagano, and they've isolated and found some weaknesses in that offensive line up front for the Dolphins. That really has been the difference and not allowed the Dolphins to get any sort of rhythm on offense all day.
4th down and 5. Tannehill to Parker, who makes another nifty catch for the first down.
You talk about what Ryan Tannehill's done as he does complete this on the 4th down conversion. Tannehill, since the beginning of his career, no quarterback in the league has been sacked more, and it continues.
Tannehill keeps it on the read, and he runs out with maybe a couple of yards on the play and 3:14 to go. Dolphins do have all 3 timeouts remaining. For Dan Campbell, who told us yesterday that he's coaching these final 3 games as if he's going to be the head coach next year. And certainly that means he wants to win these 3 games, but also wants to get a look at some of the younger players on the team as the Dolphins will close it out with 2 home games against the Colts and the Patriots.
There's that same look the Chargers have been given to him the whole game.
Tannehill to Landry, who earlier today set the franchise record for most catches in a season, passing O.J. McDuffie. Manti Te'o on the tackle.
You know, as this Dolphins continue to strive here late in the game as Dan Campbell looks on and Ryan Tannehill trying to get this team lined up. You know, a lot of things going through the mind of the Dolphins, just like there are here in San Diego, but for different reasons.
Tannehill to Stills, and they were a little bit out of sync on that route. It's incomplete.
You asked an interesting question yesterday to Dan Campbell. You know, what'd you learn in this short time that you've been the interim head coach of the Dolphins? He said, "I know this. I was born to be a coach." And it's his life, and I've said that a number of times. These guys who coach at this level, it's not a career for them; it's a lifestyle. And Dan Campbell admitted to us he will never and doesn't want to ever do anything other than coach. So if he's a head coach, good for him. But you know he'll be coaching somewhere.
4th down and 4, and before the snap, the Chargers call a timeout with 2:45 remaining. Next Sunday, the NFL on CBS runs out some rivalries in one matchup. Tom Brady and the Patriots meet Ryan Fitzpatrick and the Jets, or the Steelers take on the Ravens. Browns battle the Chiefs. Texans meet the Titans, and we'll be in New Orleans for the Jaguars and the Saints. Check your local listings, beginning with your Super Bowl 50 team. JB, Tony, Bart, Coach, and Boomer on the NFL Today. And there it is. Weddle is coming out of the game to hugs from his teammates and coaches on the sideline. Weddle has said that this will be his last game in San Diego, no matter where the team is next year. He's going to look elsewhere as he's a free agent. And Eric Weddle grew up about 100 miles north of here.
Yeah, you can tell by the look on his face, too. That's a hard walk-off.
Said he's going to stay after the game and sign as many autographs as possible. On 4th and 4, Tannehill to Landry for another catch, and the Dolphins keep the drive alive. A gain of 19. That's Landry's 7th catch of the day.
Yeah, I don't think his teammates don't appreciate it and know what it means to him, because it's easy for them to put themselves in his position and appreciate what he's going through.
Tannehill looking for Landry again, but this one was too high.
You know, we've seen, even today, so many players had to leave the game with injury. So many guys stayed down. You've seen guys have great moments like Danny Woodhead scoring 4 touchdowns in this building today. You know, so many players, you forget the physical toll it takes on your body and what you have to think about to be ready to play on Sunday. And then a guy like Eric Weddle, who knows he's never going to do it in this building again. As many times as he's had to come up physical in this game, to see it all come to an end is really, really difficult.
Well, none of them may do it in this building again, but Eric Weddle will be the last game as a Charger. He's come out and said he does not expect to be back here with this organization next year. Now, he left open the possibility that the emotional pull from the guys like Phillip Rivers and Antonio Gates and all the other veteran players on this team may come into play at some point, but he's not expecting it to.
Emotion's one thing, money's another.
That's exactly right. But you got to, I mean, he said you're going to test the market. He's a 9-year veteran. He'll be going into his 10th year. You know, it's a heavy price tag if someone wants to bring him in.
With 2:15 to go, it's 3rd and 10. And give it to Ajayi, and it'll be 4th down once again for Miami. And that appears to take us right to the 2-minute warning here in San Diego. 2 minutes to go at Qualcomm Stadium. Chargers lead 30-7. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes and a rare look inside Apple with CEO Tim Cook, followed by the season premiere of Undercover Boss, then Madam Secretary and a new CSI Cyber. Only CBS. 4th down and 8 for Miami. They are 2 for 2 on 4th downs on this drive. Tannehill to Parker again for a 1st down, and he's still going. Parker slipping tackles. Devontae Parker down the sideline and out of bounds at the 10-yard line. What a run after the catch by the rookie Devontae Parker, a gain of 34.
Well, I really think this guy's going to be a heck of a receiver. You look at what he did in college, set the record for University of Louisville, 33 touchdowns in his career. He's been hampered this year by a foot injury that he actually brought with him, was causing him problems in college. But I really think this guy is a big play wide receiver who, with a full training camp, another year to learn the system, is going to be a spectacular offensive football player for a lot of years.
And San Diego had to call a timeout as Adrian Phillips was late to run on the field. So San Diego had to use a timeout.
Adrian Phillips didn't realize that the regular safety that Eric Weddle had been taken out for.
He went in for him.
He went in for him and he forgot he was still out.
Well, final few minutes here at this stadium for what could be the final game here. Built in 1967, was then known as San Diego Stadium. Then in 81, renamed Jack Murphy Stadium for the local sports writer. In the late 90s, renamed Qualcomm Stadium. Overall, this has been the Chargers' home for 49 years. Their first 6 were at Balboa Stadium. Still the only stadium to host the Super Bowl and the World Series in the same season. That was 1998. And some of it's cleared out, but a lot of other Chargers fans will be staying to the bitter end, as Eric Weddle is one of the many who's going to stick around and pose for pictures and sign some autographs at the end of this one. Tannehill to Landry. They get it inside the 5-yard line. That's the 8th catch for Jarvis Landry. He now has 97 receptions on the season.
Yeah, he continues to be impressive in his 2nd year in the league. Just a dependable guy. He's not a big guy, but he has really shown the ability to show up every week, be available, line up anywhere they want him to line up, and be able to make plays whenever they've asked him to. And he's got an incredible future ahead of him.
Tannehill, end zone for Parker. It's incomplete, but a flag comes in. Patrick Robinson on the coverage.
Devontae Parker, the intended receiver, penalty flag.
Pass interference, defense number 26. The foul occurred in the end zone. The ball replaced by Rule at the 1-yard line. 1st down.
Coming up as soon as we're done here in San Diego, we'll take you for bonus coverage of the Broncos and Steelers right now tied at 27 with 4:14 to go in the 4th quarter. You'll see it as soon as we're done here in San Diego. So the penalty makes it 1st and goal for Miami. Ajayi, the running back. Tannehill on the keeper, and Tannehill gets in for the touchdown. His first rushing touchdown of the season and the 5th of his career.
You got to like that if you're a Dolphins fan. Just seeing these guys compete to the end. Ryan Tannehill, we know what a great athlete he is. Converted from a wide receiver at Texas A&M still developing as a quarterback, a guy that I think has the potential to be a big-time NFL quarterback, still growing into his role as a quarterback. But right there, he showed you the other dimension he brings, his ability to keep you honest by beating you with his feet.
Andrew Franks out for the extra point for Miami. Franks has only attempted 11 field goals this year, and this is another game where he has not even attempted a field goal. He's had limited opportunities, but the rookie has done a nice job when he's been sent out there. As we take a look at the updated playoff picture in the AFC, again, we just showed you Pittsburgh and Denver all tied up. Earlier today, the Patriots wrapped up a first-round bye. They beat Tennessee. Actually, New England needs Denver to lose that game to Pittsburgh in order to get the first-round bye. They've already clinched the division, but if the Steelers beat the Broncos in that game we're going to take you to next, then New England would get the first-round bye for the playoffs. And the Chiefs winning again, the Jets winning last night, the Steelers trying to keep pace. Still a lot to be decided on the AFC side of things with 2 more weeks to go after today. For the Dolphins, 7 straight years without going to the playoffs. That's the longest streak in franchise history, as the Steelers will update you have just taken a lead on Denver 34-27, which is good news for the Patriots as they try to lock up that first-round bye.
Well, since 2002, the Dolphins have only been in the playoffs 1 time, and one of the reasons is, I mean, since Don Shula, retired in 1995, this franchise has been through 9 head coaches when you count the interim, as we see Miami lined up for the onside kick. But that instability has been the difference for the Dolphins.
Franks, the onside kick right to the Chargers. And guess who? Eric Weddle is the one who recovers.
There was a flag down, and the Dolphins had a delay of game because it took them so long to get that kick off. They're going to get penalized, which is actually
good for them.
A good thing, yeah.
They get another shot at it.
Let's see if they do the same kick. They have both their kicker and their punter out there in Franks and Dar. It was Franks who took the last one. Let's see if they do something different here. Franks is 0 for 1. Dar is 1 for 2.
A little choreographed dance move there.
And this time it's Franks again, but a different style. Flags come in. They were offsides. It'll be San Diego football with 1:34 to go.
And this will be declined or added on to the end of the kick.
Could you imagine seeing those kickers practicing that out on the practice field? You'd be looking over, what are those guys doing over there?
Offsides, member of the kicking team. That 5-yard penalty will be enforced from the succeeding spot. San Diego keeps the ball. First down.
Quick update to New York. JB and Tony Gonzalez.
The combo in Pittsburgh again.
Yeah, Antonio Brown from Ben Roethlisberger, 15 catches, 181 yards, 2 touchdowns. That one goes for 23 yards, 24 unanswered points by the Pittsburgh Steelers. They take the lead 34-27.
3:04 left in regulation. What a groove. Back to Andrew Catalan.
JB, thanks. What a year for Antonio Brown. Continues to turn into one of the best wide receivers in the league. So we'll take you there as soon as we're done. But what we're expecting, as Scott Kaplan reported, is at some point here for Mike McCoy to take out Rivers, Floyd, and Gates all together and have them get one last ovation here at Qualcomm Stadium. Miami has called timeout with 1:29 to go.
On the tackle, 5 yards, 2nd and 5.
While we wait, let's take a look at the updated playoff picture in the NFC. Carolina has clinched a first-round bye after beating the Giants in a thriller earlier today. Green Bay is leading Oakland, but because of the Giants' loss, Green Bay's already clinched a playoff spot today. And the Redskins, we'll see them play the Eagles next Saturday night on NFL Network. Washington now in the driver's seat in that division.
Yeah, that NFC East, with the loss by the Giants today obviously kills the Giants. Still have a chance, but you look at Philadelphia, they have the big game tonight with Arizona coming to town. that Week 16 matchup between the Redskins and the Eagles is going to determine that division, and also Philadelphia ends up with the Giants, which still might have something to play for at that point as well.
On 2nd and 5, it's Brown on the carry, and Dan Campbell calls another timeout. He'll have one remaining with 1:24 to go. Mike McCoy in his 3rd year with the Chargers. His contract runs through next year. There's been some talk of whether or not McCoy will return to the Chargers, a 3-10 record.
Well, the record does not speak to his coming back, but the fact that they're in such an enormous transition spot, it might be best leave him in place, give the team a little bit of continuity in the transition to wherever the next building is they end up playing in, and let him get this team through that phase.
I agree with you, but there is a school of thought that if you're going to move, bring in a big-name coach to kind of try and draw more positive energy and enthusiasm about it. I personally think Mike McCoy deserves another chance to try and put this thing together. The injuries have been so massive these last couple of years. I think he's a guy that deserves another chance to see what he can do while they still have the nucleus of this team.
And now Mike McCoy is orchestrating how he's going to pull this off, with Rivers, Floyd, and Gates getting an ovation. Looks like he's going to take a delay of game penalty and then have them come out. And for the Charger fans who have seen these three play for so many years here in San Diego, Rivers in his 12th year, Floyd in his 10th year, Gates in his 13th season. There's the flag for delay of game, and here it comes. Well, if it is the last game in San Diego, the Chargers are sending their fans home on a good note. An impressive win, and now a lot of what's left to be decided will be determined off the field in the coming weeks. Will San Diego have the Chargers next year? That's a question that the fans are looking forward to an answer to, but in any event, if today was it, the Chargers went out in style, a 30-14 win to stop a 5-game home losing streak. Phillip Rivers over 300 yards. Antonio Gates had 6 catches. Malcolm Floyd had a big catch. Danny Woodhead with 4 touchdowns. Charger fans hope this isn't it, but it could be in San Diego. Chargers win 30-14. Now let's go to James Brown in New York.